Hey guys, welcome back. I've been wanting to do a couple of videos. I'm going to do this one about why the chest is in Yellowstone or was found in Yellowstone. I also wanted to do one about the alone thing. That when he and I've been talking about that for a year now. I've mentioned it a bunch of times how anytime Forrest mentions being alone, he's talking about the location. And the same thing goes when he says church or when he's talking about 200 feet. All those are references to the location. So when he's saying those things, you need to listen up because there's hints. Anyways, I digress. That's not what this is about. This is about Yellowstone. Now, there are tons and tons of reasons why I believe it's in Yellowstone. But we're only going to discuss the very, very tip of the iceberg, okay? Because otherwise we'd be here 2 or 3 hours and it could go on forever. And I don't want to do that. I'm trying to make this video short. It's already going to be close to 15 minutes probably. I really hope you guys watch it all because I think it's correct. This isn't some cockamamie crazy thought. I think it's as good as evidence as you can get without him actually telling you it's in Yellowstone. And in fact, I think one of his slip-ups I'm going to mention here. Maybe it's not a slip-up, but it might be the one. Okay, so let's talk about some of these quick little things. These are just little anecdotal things, but, you know, they add up nonetheless. Let's start with the scrapbooks, a couple of them. There's a bunch of them, like I said, but I'm only going to touch on a few things to keep this as brief as possible. All right, scrapbook 90, George Dabbich. He talks about how George Dabbich went out there and shot 20-something grizzlies just east of Yellowstone, right? He says, but he uses the words, out there just east of Yellowstone. Well, if out there is east of Yellowstone, in there must be in Yellowstone, right? As I've gone alone in there. Okay, so that's one. There's another scrapbook, I think it's about Bitburg, Germany. He talks about having to stay on the path because there's mines everywhere or something like that. And there's signs every 200 feet telling you to stay on the path. And it ends at a makeshift tower at the end of the runway, right? Or at the end of that path. I forget exactly. Okay, that is a direct nod to Highway 212 and Yellowstone. And this, what we're looking at, by the way, is Highway 212. This is the northeast entrance, which is where I think it was, but that's not what this is about either. Okay, so the path, he's talking about the signs. It's like the boardwalks and telling you stay on the path, right? Don't go off into the thermal areas. And it ends at a tower. This road here that we're looking at ends at Tower Junction. So those are a couple little nods. Another one in the book, he talks the chapter First Grade. To me, that was a hint for First Clue. He talks about his dad hammering that big wooden sign into the ground. Hello, that's what we're looking at right here. Big wooden sign. That was a hint to this sign that we're looking at right here. Northeast entrance. Could have been another entrance, but in general, he's talking about the Yellowstone entrance sign. What else? Oh, here's one. This is one of the bigger ones. Okay, the slip-up. I think, you know, I thought could be a different couple slip-ups. It could be the 7,000-foot reference on the Today Show. But in doing this video, I've thought of this, and I think this might be the slip-up, and it very well could be. Now, some people think it would be too big of a slip-up, but anyways, here we go. All right, so Forrest talked about look at the big picture, right? That's been debated a lot. Is it a big picture in one of the books? What's he talking about? Is it a certain map? You know, there's been lots of ideas floating around out there. Guys, Forrest told us, okay? I know Terry Scant's not up. And let me tell you, everything I tell you is accurate unless I tell you I'm not sure. And this is accurate, 100%. In fact, it's on my video for Where Warm Waters Halt, and you can see the Terry Scant clip of it. It was revolving around when a man got banned from the park for life or for a year. I don't remember what it was. But he got banned from the park for using metal detectors. And I guess someone was interviewing Forrest about that, about what he thought. And he was lessening the crime, you know, compared to the punishment. And he said something like, in the big picture of Yellowstone, I don't think what he did was a big deal, or something like that. But the part I'm 100% sure of, he says, in the big picture of Yellowstone. That's for sure what he said. Guys, He told us what the big picture was, okay? I mean, the man out of his own mouth in the big picture of Yellowstone. And I have heard people reference that and just blow it off like it's nothing. I mean, I never understood that. How can someone hear that and just think, nah, it's nothing, it means nothing? He said, look at the big picture. And in another interview, he said, in the big picture of Yellowstone. Excuse me, sorry, I've had a little cough lately. Guys, I mean, what do you want? The man guided you right to it. I mean, he told you in the big picture of Yellowstone. This is undeniable. It's what he said. If you choose to just forget like he never even said it, okay, that's on you, I guess. But that's what he said, folks. Okay? And everything that comes out more and more makes it look like it's in Yellowstone. And it was. Okay? I mean, sorry for people that aren't, whose souls weren't in Yellowstone, but it was in Yellowstone. Okay? So that was one big thing, the big picture comment. There's another one. We have the windows in the book. Okay, so he's looking out the window and sees the brown fire escape, right? The rusty brown fire escape. He looks out, his mom was looking out the kitchen window and sees the Indians chasing the chickens around, right? And then there's another window, and he says somewhere in Mississippi a window would break. Okay. And I think there's another window reference regarding a graveyard or train tracks. I'm not sure about that one. I can't remember. I haven't looked at my book in a while. Okay. So when he's looking out when he references the rusty fire escape or slide, whatever, he's referencing Double Slide in the north entrance. When he talks about the Indians chasing the chickens around, he's talking about the east entrance, Pahascatipi, right? Indians. When he mentions the broken window of Mississippi, the capital of Mississippi is Jackson, Mississippi. He's referencing the south entrance, Jackson, Wyoming. Okay? These are direct references to the park. That is what he was telling us with those window hints. I mean, again, this is the kind of thing where if you want to call it coincidence, sure, go ahead, but you'd be wrong. I'm sorry, it's not a coincidence. You don't have 3 or 4 tie-ins to these windows to items, direct, exact references to areas outside the park, and it'd be a coincidence. You guys, I mean, where's I don't know. Well, Michael Hoole, he's a smart guy, but he might be biased because he was in New Mexico. So why don't we get an independent statistician, math major, and see what kind of coincidence that would be. Anyway, so that was one big one. The other big one, I've done a video on this before, but I'm bringing it up again. Okay, so in Scrapbook 107, he talks about going to get his license on the last day before it expires, right? Okay. In New Mexico, your license expires, it's my understanding, a month after your birthday, right? We know Forrest's birthday is August 22nd, so a month after would be September 22nd. Okay, September 22nd. Why is that date important? I'll tell you why it's important. On 3 fronts. It's the 265th day of the year, okay? How many gold coins were in the chest? That Forrest beat it into our brains. We all know. 265, right? He's been saying that since day one. 265 gold coins. Also, the 265th day of the year, September 22nd, is also the last day of summer, okay? The last day of summer, representing the end of his summers, right? When metaphorically his warm waters would halt at the end of summer every time he left Yellowstone Park to go back to Temple, Texas. So much so that he would go back 4 times a year, all the way into his 80s, right? I mean, that's crazy, but he did. Went there all the time. I mean, 4 times a year is all the time as far as I'm concerned. Given the man's an 80 and he was, 900 miles away or however far away he was. So that represents, I drifted off, sorry. That represents the last day of summer. To me, it's when he hid the chest. The driver's license story in Scrapbook 107 is an allegory for hiding the chest. He talks about running out of gas, which means being tired. It's clear. I mean, people don't, again, the community, I don't know the psychology of it. People just don't want to believe these things. These are, yeah, sure, it's my opinion. Okay, I understand that technically is my opinion, but guys, these are facts, pretty much. I mean, I don't know why it's so hard for people to get on this, you know. And then on top of that, gosh, sorry guys, sorry. On top of that, September 22nd in either 09 or 2010 is when the Cody Museum had their yearly rendezvous, the fashion show and all that stuff they do all week long. And we already know, believe her or not, and it just happens to fit and just came up recently, so I'll bring it up. But Cynthia said that Forrest told her he hit it while he was in Cody. Okay, so that I was saying this all along, so before Cynthia said that I always believed he hit it September 22nd while he was in Cody for the rendezvous, and that is definitely what happened, guys. I mean, 265. Maybe 265 is definitely referencing the end of summer and Yellowstone. That's the biggest hint that's out there. Maybe the big picture was even bigger, but anyways, that's what I got. Now, if you want to, debate or give me criticism, that's fine. I welcome it, but I would prefer, instead of telling me he wouldn't hide it in the park because of the legalities. That's crap. That's not a reason. That's just an opinion, unsupported by anything. Forrest himself said, I was going to make it work no matter what. He didn't select a location because there weren't legalities there. This location was selected from the get-go. Whether it had legalities or not, that would just be a side issue he would have to deal with. But the fact that it has legal problems, first of all, it's not even really true, okay? I'm not even going to get into all that. I did a whole video on that, too. It's not even really true, in my opinion, that he's got all these legal problems. But even if it was, it wouldn't matter. It's a non-factor, completely non-factor, okay? I'd like reasons with evidence. Tell me why, or why, I don't know. I don't know what the reasons are, because the only reason I ever hear it was either it's too obvious or the legalities. And I already talked about the legalities. And the too obvious, well, let's just look what Jack said. He gave us that video on that TV show about the guy stealing wheelbarrows. How the answer's right in front of us. Guys, there's nothing more obvious than Yellowstone. Because that's where it was. All right? This is correct. I'm sorry. I don't know if I said this, but I'm going to say it again if I did. The recently with Shannon, she said she wasn't sure if it was in the park or not, that location Jack gave her. Okay, if you subscribe to the fact that was the winning location, if she's not sure, then that means it's at most close to the edge of the park, right? Because she's just not sure. Within 10 miles of the park, let's say. So that would rule out pretty much everything, right? It would rule out Kerwin. It would rule out the Wheel. It would rule out Lander. It would rule out the Tetons, right? It's in the park, guys. I mean, I don't know why you don't see it. And this has nothing to do that myself is in the park, okay? Because this is just obvious stuff. It's obvious stuff. I wish people would get on board and we at least come to at least a general agreement, a majority, that it's in Yellowstone. I mean, yeah, I get we got scrattlers who still think it's in New Mexico or Colorado, whatever. Okay, I'm not paying attention to any of them. But for us, rational people that think it's in Wyoming, it's in the park, guys. Okay, it's in the park. That's it. All right, that's what I got. I hope at least you think about it, even if you don't agree. At least put some thought behind it, and tell me what's wrong about what I've said. Okay, but give me evidence, give me support that what Forrest has said, stuff he's written. I don't want just opinion based on nothing, like the one with the legalities. That just drives me nuts when people talk about the legalities of Yellowstone, because it's just not true. First of all. Anyways, okay, guys, that's the video. Leave a comment, subscribe. Hope everyone's been well. Take care.